Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of the Moma Chat. How are you doing, baby?
I'm doing wonderful, love.
Good. All right, I'm glad you're doing good because we're going to talk about the structure of the home, um, the way that we feel that God intended for a home to be structured. So, do you want to start off?
Well, yeah, of course. I've been the head of the household. I think it's only fair that I start, right? Well, I think that, there's been a lot of questions about, what is the structure of a home. And traditionally, we all know that the head has to be the man, the wife, the kids. But with the rise of feminism, which is something which a lot of people have struggled with to try to understand that, and women being in the workforce and making things, that structure really has changed a lot. And the question is whether are we deviating from that structure? Was that ordained by God? Should we really do it? What does that? Where do we stand, especially in a world like today, where most of the time we need two incomes? It's really hard to really maintain that old traditional way. How do we go about it?
Right. So, when you talk about um, traditionally, a man should be the head of the household, are we talking about the way culture sees it, the way the world sees it, or are we talking about the way it should be as Christians?
Yeah. Well, I think that it's really not necessarily on how the world sees it, because the world will see things the way we want to see. Our goal, growing spiritually, is to make sure that we are in the right alignment, with Christ.
Right.
And if we flow through the right alignment, then most of the time we should see a lot of good structure and good fruits coming out of it. And I do believe that when you look at the initial part of the Bible, when God created Adam, but then he realized that Adam really cannot function on his own and needed a helper, so he got Eve. But the question now is, what does it even mean to be a helper?
Okay. Before we get into what it means to be a helper, because I think that is a good question, um, the structure of the household should be husband,
Mm-hmm.
wife.
Why are you saying that with a lot of hesitation?
No,
Or are you trying to
because
think of an emphasis? Okay.
we'll get there.
All right.
Husband, wife, children.
Mm-hmm.
I want to point out that I said husband and not man.
Is there a difference now?
There's a difference because you can live with a man and it not be your husband.
All right, well, we'll talk about traditional marriages now, baby.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to emphasize the title of husband and not it's not a gender role, right?
No, baby. It is. Let's not. You're going through a tangent right now, baby.
That's not a tangent.
No,
because
it is
it's
a.
not.
Yeah.
It's just not a. It's not a man like a man and a woman and children. Because if you're not married, that's what I'm saying. When you're married, it comes with a title of husband.
Well, if you're not married, then we're not talking about you. We're talking about marriage couples.
That's
right?
what I want to emphasize.
Yeah.
There was no tangent.
Okay. Just want to make sure that we're not trying to do pronouns and things
No,
like that.
it
No,
was
no, no,
nothing. It had
All right,
absolutely
okay, because
nothing.
there's
to
absolutely
do
no
with that.
confusion in this household
Right.
about
Right.
biology
So
and
it
things like
had
that.
nothing to do with that.
All
All
right.
right. So husband, wife, children. You agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Great. So what were you saying?
Well, we're just trying to. I think that I think that there's been a lot. In my opinion, and I try to take this from the Holy Family, right? And the Holy Family, we have Mary, we have Joseph, and of course we have our Lord Jesus Christ. And if you see how everything goes there, and that is where sometimes I look to for the inspiration. You see, when the angel came, it was able to tell Mary that we're gonna use your womb to bring Jesus to this world. But from that moment, every other information about raising Jesus went straight to Joseph.
Right. That is true. Even what Jesus' name would be.
Exactly. It was given. Yeah, it was given to Joseph.
And then when it
Yeah.
was time for them to leave, because they were in danger, those instructions were given to Joseph. That is true. So we talk about, let me ask you a question. Do you feel like you and I have a traditional marriage?
Well, I think that we have evolved.
That was not the question. I said, do you think we have a traditional marriage? It is a yes or a no.
I think that we are almost there.
Almost there.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is it?
Well, the thing is that we do have. I think we do have a traditional home, right? But I think that we still have that struggle sometimes of trying to be who has a last word. And no, most of the time it goes down to me. But again, also it's a struggle to say, from my big fat Greek wedding, they say the man is the head of the family, but the woman is the neck, and the neck can move the head whichever way he wants. So it looks like you do take a crown for that sometimes. So
what is it? A yes or no? Do we have a traditional marriage? Yes or no?
you
Because you really obeyed this question. So is you not sure? It's not a yes or no.
I don't think it's a solid yes.
You don't think it's
but I think it's an almost yes.
I would say it's a solid yes. I would say we definitely
perception is everything.
I would say we definitely have a traditional marriage. Like I feel like it's very traditional.
Well, it is.
And yeah, so that's what I would say. And I guess the question would be, what is traditional? And let's talk about, what do you feel like is traditional? What do you feel like is a traditional marriage?
Well, so I think I think if so in my opinion, a traditional marriage should be where, of course, the man is the one that really works, right, and he brings the income home. But again, in today's world where we have two incomes, those things are not really the same anymore. But I do think that the wife should really be home to nurture the kids. Because I think that it's very, very essential that the kids have that nurturing from the mother. And if the mother is working full time, we miss out on that. So I think the whole traditional thing is getting really complex nowadays just because of the structure of the work system, financial burden, and things like that. But
So I don't think that I understand what you're saying, that you feel like a traditional marriage or a traditional household is when the man provides and the woman nurtures, right? And I think that even if both parents work full time, and that could still be the case essentially, even if the woman does also work and contribute to the household. But I guess provision is not just monetarily. It can be provide security, provide safety, provide structure, provide I don't know, like morality, or like have a plan, a vision. Like for me, I feel like a traditional household is the man has a vision for his family.
I think you're very right.
And that vision is something that comes from God. That's something that you seek from God. You're seeking a vision from God for your marriage, first of all, for yourself, for your marriage, for your children, for your future, and for your family's future. You're seeking that vision from God. One of the things that you always have said to me is the man should be the high priest of his home.
Yes. And can I just really quick just to support your point? And I think you can see how I was struggling to talk about the traditional family, and I think that is the way a lot of us have really failed to really understand things, because yes, the man is a visionary of the home, but being a visionary of the home doesn't necessarily mean that you are the breadwinner of the home, right? Being the visionary person of the home doesn't mean that you cannot be home and take care of kids. It just means that you have to make sure that you put that family under your spiritual umbrella, where you know that you become the high priest, where you pray the most for the family, even though nowadays we usually see women praying the most. But you're the one that really want to be able to get a vision and talk to God and like, what is the direction that we're going? Like the Bible says, like Proverbs say, follow, follow the instructions of your father. But when it comes to the mother, it tells tries to tell the child the mother, the mother's teachings are the law. So the man gets a vision from God, discuss that with the wife, but the wife is the one that establishes that and make that law in the house.
Right. So that's why when you were talking about the woman is a helper, the woman has to have a vision to help with. Mm-hmm. The woman should not be coming up with the vision for the house. The woman should be partaking in the vision. Like if you have a vision for your house or your family, you share that with the woman.
Yes.
And maybe God has also spoken, as you share that, maybe God will also speak to the woman or has spoken something to the woman. Mm-hmm. But the woman is there to help you carry out that vision. A woman cannot.
But the question about help also is that, do you help only when you understand the vision? But even if you don't understand the vision, do you still give your full support to
it? That is a tough question.
So that is really what it really means.
Well, that's very complicated because you have to. That's complicated because you have to trust and believe that your husband is actually getting vision from God. It's different if a man just wants to do something, and you don't agree with it. It's different when God is at the center of your marriage.
No, we'll talk about if we follow the right structure, right?
Okay.
And we have a prayerful man that you know that, okay, this man gets his vision. He comes in and says, okay, baby, this is what we're going to be doing for the next time. It doesn't make no sense to you. It actually goes against every logic. But he believes in his heart that this is a vision and the plan that God has given. Will you support that man 100%, even if that is something you don't want, that you don't believe 100%?
I'm gonna go with yes, even though that would be difficult, and I would have my own conversations with God, because I am a firm believer that just because you are married and somebody says, "Oh, God spoke to me," or God said something to me, I feel like if we're married and we're one, God will give me peace. If it's not spoken to me also, God will give me peace about the decision or the direction that we're going in, that I would get some sort of peace or some sort of, I would even ask God, go as far as to ask God, give me a sign, like help me, like speak to me, God, like help me to deal with this. But I think that I would rock with it. But I also think that, like I said, that's complicated because that comes with trust. What else is going on? It comes with, do I trust you? Do I think you're capable of being the head of the household? Do I?
So now you're starting to go into other. So
because I think that's complicated, baby.
Well,
that's a lot. I don't.
We'll talk about what the right alignment have to be, right?
Right.
So we're saying that if this is this, well, most of the time we're not in right alignment, which means that the first order of the day is to try to get things back in right alignment.
Right.
And if you know that this is in the right alignment, then you should be able to support. You just don't support when it makes sense. You have to support when it doesn't make sense. You have to trust. It's because he becomes a leader. So you always have to rally behind him and be that number one supporter. We're not saying that you go blindly, that you don't give your points. But then there are some times that sometimes I could come and say, hey, baby, I know this doesn't make sense to you right now, but I need you to trust me. Will you be able to say, hey, baby, I'm going to trust you? Yes, it doesn't make sense.
I will be able to say that, and I have done that on numerous occasions, but at the same time, you can say that, and I can still go and talk to God about it.
No, of course, because, we do have to expect that, your strength for you to follow that has to come from God. But you don't go, you don't go from a rebellious standpoint. You go from a point on you go to God, crying to God on how best you can be of help to make sure that this thing goes according to the plan of God.
Right.
Right. Not to say, oh, is this right or wrong, because that becomes a little, and therefore when you start to go with doubt, sometimes that's how the devil also can still put peace in your heart and give you the wrong answer.
How do you think if, I think that's the hardest thing is if a man is the head of the household, and I feel like a lot of men take that to mean that what I say goes. Like, since I'm the head of the household, if I say we are going to move left, everybody is going to move left, and because I'm the man of the household, this is what's going to happen. How do you feel like biblically a woman should deal with that situation if she does not agree, if she really feels like, okay, this is a mistake, this is not the right move for our family?
Well, so, and this is the thing which the thing is, well, the Bible talks about a woman being submissive, right? But the submission comes from a place of love, not from a place of force, right? Because and the man also is really supposed to love the wife as he loves himself. And also, not as he loves himself, but more so as Christ loves the church.
Oh, a lot of men don't love themselves, so that answers that question.
So really as Christ loves the church, because if you go down to really see, because the main thing is that the wife becomes the crown jewel of the man, right? Mm-hmm. So therefore, if you're treating that wife as Christ loves the church, therefore your goal is to make that wife pure. Your goal is to take away all the blemishes as Christ tried to take the blemishes of the church, to forgive our sins and all of those things. So, which means that you have to protect and correct that woman. But I do believe that if a man is able to do that, then the woman will see that, and it will become natural for the woman to start to respect the man and trust where this is going, where the vision is going. Because you cannot say, oh yes, I want to be able to be obedient, but you're only obedient to the things that you understand, and that's not obedience.
Not obedient,
that's not even submission. Even.
Submissive?
Yeah.
I think submission is different from obedience.
Yes, but submission comes with obedience, but you cannot be submissive only when you understand something. It's not really being submissive. It's just saying, oh yeah, okay, you don't want to make anything, but I have to make sure that I'm 100% on it.
Yeah. Let me just say this. Okay, children are obedient. Like, you expect your child to be obedient. You don't expect your wife to be obedient. Correct? You expect your wife to be submissive.
Okay.
And submissive means that, for me, it means that I have an opinion, but I choose to defer to your opinion.
Good.
That is a choice. That does not mean that I don't have a voice or an opinion. It means that I have made a choice to defer.
I like that point.
And I also feel like when it comes to being submissive, a woman, I was saying before that it's complicated, because a woman is not going to be submissive to somebody who she cannot trust. Number one, if you have breached my trust, if like you said, if you don't have your house in order, if there has been situations where your wife does not trust you, or she does not believe in you as a man, then she is not going to submit to you, or she's going to have a harder time submitting to you. And basically, when it comes to a decision, when I was asking you, how should a woman deal with if the husband wants to go left and you don't think that that's the best choice, I feel like in our marriage, there has been times where you have made a decision and I did not agree, and I let you know, I don't agree with this decision you're making. I don't think that this is going to turn out well. But I rock with it and say, okay, if this is what you choose to do. And whether it was, most of the times it turns out to be the right decision, right? And it turns out well. Sometimes it does not turn out well, but at the same time, it's still, as the head of the household, it's still your choice to make. And I trust that you have put my best interest and our family's best interest first. And that's the most important. Nobody is perfect. Every decision is not gonna be a great decision.
Of
But the
course,
point
yeah.
is, I trust that that your intentions were good,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you do mess up and you didn't make the best decision, I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, look what you did. Like you made the wrong decision. I might give you the look, and you know that I'm thinking like, yeah, you should have listened to me, like that kind of look. But at the end of the day, it's my job as your helper to support you and help like pick up the pieces or put it together, because we have a family, we're in this together.
Yes.
And I think that that's the important part, is that we're in this together. And you take there's so much going on in any family, and especially when you're a mom, you have kids, and even if a woman works, the burden for taking care of kids mostly falls on the woman. Wouldn't you agree with that? Even if a woman works, the burden for the kids are going to, if the kid, they're going to run to mommy, mommy's going to
well, that's true. Even though I can say most of my men have really stepped up these days.
Yeah,
you know.
it's nothing wrong with a man stepping up, but the mom, the burden still falls on the mom for the majority of women. So if you can take some things off of my plate, as in you can make those overarching big decisions, if you can take that off of my plate, then I am more than happy to let you drive the bus, babe. Yeah. And I'll just I'll be looking while you're driving.
I mean, of course,
and I'll say, watch out, turn right. You know, I'll give my little opinions, but I'm happy to let you drive the bus. And I think it's important that everybody knows their roles. Yes. Everybody has to know their part. And it took us years to even define our roles. It takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of trust. It takes a lot. But once you know your role and you can play your part.
Yeah. Because I think that I think for us, when we came in, we had two very headstrong people to begin with. And, but I think when there's love, there, you guys going to fine tune things over time. And I think that's probably what has really, really helped. But the most important thing is to remember that even when the man is loving the wife as Christ loved the church, and sometimes that's a question you really have to ask. But as a Christian, or maybe I should say, as a follower of Christ, I don't love my wife based on how my wife loves me. I love my wife based on my duty as a Christian. What is my prescription for loving my wife? So that I don't get bogged down on are you giving me the right response and you give me the right stuff. And sometimes when we don't do that, because it is always easy for us to go back and want to fight, right? Say, hey, doing this and justify things like that. But one thing I've realized with you is that when I start to do justification, it never really ends well. But when I take a step back and I look at things from a different way and just concentrate on just loving you, most of the time I even realize that what I could have even made a justification, I was even the one that was wrong. But I would never have come to that conclusion if I was trying to be very reactive to, right? And I think that it's something where we have to go back to our roles and make sure that as Christians that you're doing your role irrespective of the other person. But it makes it a billion times better when everybody is working together.
Right, when everybody is working together. That's very true. So let's talk about children, because we talked about the husband.
I love my kids.
The wife, and then the children. They kind of round out the structure of the home. So what do you feel about children? I think that a lot of times, I see this a lot, is that spouses may put children before each other. Like the needs of the children come before.
And I know you've made sure that didn't happen, yeah.
Are you trying to throw shade, baby? Because
No, of course I won't throw shade. I'm actually happy because
you are. Okay.
I'm happy because I think that one thing which I think when we started having kids, I was just under the impression that okay, as long as I can provide for the family, make sure that you're good, everything is good. My wife like, no, As soon as go on a date, I'm like, you're breastfeeding. You know, why are you going? Like, no, she still want to make sure that she has that date once a month. And it makes me to realize that if I don't do that, then I start just looking at my wife as just a mother of my kids, and instead of my wife. And I think those are two different things, because she is my wife, and at some point the kid's gonna grow up and go. You know.
I think people forget that.
Yeah.
We raise kids to leave. We
Yeah.
do not raise kids to
So
stay.
exactly.
Every year that they get older is a year
One
that
step
they
closer.
one step closer to you leaving.
One step closer to graduation.
We are raising our sons to be husbands and men. Like, you know, that's what we're not. I'm not raising you to sit and be under mom and be under me for the rest of your life. I'm raising you to be a man and eventually have your own children and your own wife and your own family structure. And the same thing for our daughter. We're raising them to leave our house. So why would I put you before my husband when, you know, we have vowed to spend the rest of our lives together and we want to raise our children and have them, you know, be men and women of valor and then enjoy our life once they're grown and, you know, stable.
Yeah.
So it would make no sense for, in my eyes, for us to put the children before each other. And I think, you know, there's tons of research that show that the best thing that you can do for children when it comes to your relationship is to actually have a stable and healthy relationship. That teaches children so much and it gives them so much stability and so much confidence, and it gives them a leg up in life.
Yep.
So I think that working on our marriage and actually having a healthy marriage is an advantage for our children.
Yeah, so just to conclude this, you know, so there's a structure in the family, but the structure is not in terms of material things, or who brings what or who brings what. It is really in terms of that spiritual download, that who is the visionary, and being a visionary just means that you try to think forward. You try to have like an eagle's view on every situation, where you can have that long range vision. And you can come in and you put it, because, like, for example, the wife is too busy with the little nitty things at home, right? And if you know, so you want to take the time where you can meditate and really concentrate and really have a vision. And it doesn't mean that when you bring the vision, that it means that it has to be that way, but you're bringing it on the table so that you guys can have a conversation about it.
Right.
And if at the end of the day, those visions can be fine-tuned based on your conversation. But if the man feels strongly, not out of selfishness, not out of ego, but out of the right intention for the family, I feel like that's the right thing to do. But at the end of the day, we'll still hope that the wife who says, yes, I really don't agree with you, baby, but I trust that you have the right intention, and I'll be there with you, and I'll continue to pray that God will guide you and lead you towards the right direction. And I think that should really be the structure. But lastly is to make sure that when you have kids, that even that, you know, yes, it's important to nurture those kids and grow, but one of the primary things that nurture the kids the most is how the bonding between the two of you are. And when you don't take time out to date, to have time for each other, so that flame is always there, then it starts to disrupt things also. Mm-hmm. So it's really important that we have a holistic way of looking at things, so that our kids can grow in a better tomorrow, so they don't start having confusion of what is.
Right. And so I think it's important to say it again, that just because the man is the head of the household, that does not mean that the woman's voice should not be heard and that the woman's voice does not matter. I think that when you have a structure and a man is hearing from God and getting vision from God, that, like you said, the wife will be his crown jewel.
Yep.
The wife. So the
wife
important.
is not the neck of the family. The wife is really the crown jewel, because that is your glory. You know, that is just like the church is the glory of Christ. your wife is your wife is your crown, is your crown. That's why when you have a wife that really supports a man and really build those things up, even from nothing, they can always be something.
Right.
Yeah.
She can make him feel like he's something.
Exactly.
A woman can make the man feel like
And a
he's
man's
capable of doing
inspiration gets
anything,
even
right?
stronger when they can believe in themselves. Because if you can believe in yourself, the vision that you bring in will be really crap. So the woman is the one that really helps the man to look inside and tap into what God has put in there, so that he can really bring it out. But when you find a way to always bring the man down and showing them mistakes, then the vision also becomes really, really muddy.
Right.
So we men, as much as sometimes we sound like we that we do act stoic, we do need appreciation. We do need that encouragement, especially from our wives.
Right.
Yeah, especially not from friends, from our wives. But now your wife comes and says, "Wow, baby, I see you doing this." Even though we may act like it's nothing, but it goes a long way to really bring that inner thing that God put in us to reveal.
Right. That's so true. So let's close out this chat by talking about some of the ways that we put our marriage first in our household. That we put our marriage before, we make sure that we put each other before our kids.
Mm-hmm.
Some practical ways. One is date night.
Yep. Yep. So we try to have as frequent as possible. Sometimes work and things doesn't get better. If when we start going like a month, we haven't go on a date, then we always have to do a reset and try to do that. My wife loves flowers, but I haven't really been good at that. She keeps reminding me every now and then. I know I try to give that to her because I spice up all things. But I also know that if my wife is mad, one of the things is just take her out on a date also. Our breakfast moment.
Wow. And vacations. We definitely take vacations without the kids.
Oh yes, absolutely without the kids.
And I can understand that vacation is not in everybody's budget. Even if it's just a staycation where you have, the kids go over, a relative's house or somebody that you trust for a night or the weekend, and you have a staycation where you stay at home.
Yep.
And you cook together, or you read the Bible together, or whatever. A staycation can also work. Another thing that we have also done is read a book.
Yep.
And kind of talk about it, or find something that we're both interested in.
Yeah, I think finding something to do, even if we was just doing this video together, it kind of bring us together, right? So finding something to do together also brings couples together. And when couples are together, the flame is there. When the flame is there, it's easier for that man to gain that vision for the family.
Right. All right. Well, I think that's it.
Well,
anything else, babe?
No. No, we forgot to mention earlier, but please subscribe. Please like. Please share. We want to hear all your thoughts. We want to first of all thank you for all the wonderful comments that you guys have given. We feel encouraged, and we're really getting out of our comfort zone to do this, but your words and your comments have been inspiring. So thank you all. Amen.